I meet the coolest people, and everybody has a story, and I'm kind of nosy, so I'll ask. I brought my parents together for homophobia. We hit coming out issues, we hit family issues, and those are always a little, serious. There are no rules. I feel like everybody should be represented. That's what I'm here to do. Hi there, welcome to Happy Hour. I'm Cameron Stiehl, and we have a super fun, exciting show for you today. The gang is all back together. We have Jason, we have Mark, we have Saturn, and we have an amazing special guest today. She is a writer, she's a comedian, she's a performer, she's got a new show opening up at the Marsh in Berkeley in September, and she's been called by Robin Williams, no less, the lesbian Lenny Bruce. A very special guest is Marga Gomez. I'm so excited to have her on the show, right? Before we bring her out, though, we are going to go and have some cocktails with the boys and do our segment called the Round Table, where we pick topics in the gay community and have a little debate. So let's go do that and go have some fun with that and have a drink. So thank you for coming to Happy Hour. Let's go see what happens. Okay, we're back at the table. We've got our drinks. Yes. We are ready to go. Are we ready for this?
I am ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, so let's grab our
little penguin.
I know, it's so cute.
Holding our topics. Oh, we gotta shake it up first.
Oh.
Okay, shaking.
I thought it was a drink coming out of there.
Okay, so you can pick the first one.
You pick the top one.
I'm gonna go to the bottom.
You always do.
That's what she said.
Oh.
It's getting bad already.
Shut up.
Which one?
Guess which one it is.
Michelle is a bitch. Michelle Bachmann is such a bitch.
It's his topic.
Oh
okay,
gosh.
Explain. I mean,
well, okay. All right. Well, we already know Michelle Bachmann is a grade A bitch. But what she's saying now is just it's out of control. She's saying that gay people want to like bring the age of consent laws down so that we can like molest little kids because us the deviants that we are.
She said that
this is like part of she's actually said this shit out loud
on a radio show. She said it on a radio show.
So what do you think about that?
Nothing, go ahead.
Where does that connection happen in some people's minds?
I don't know.
Between being in love with somebody of your own gender and wanting to have sex with minors. The two are completely unrelated.
No, they are actually. No, they're related because there's so many heterosexual people who do molest children who are under the age of 18 and go into the Midwest states where people want to get married to people who are under the age of 18, 16. And I mean, it can happen.
Yeah, but you're talking about like inbred, uneducated people. Michelle Bachmann.
No, not necessarily. There's very well-educated people who have molested children. There's a lot of professors, a lot. Yeah, I mean,
people in positions of power.
There's gay people who kill people. There's straight people who kill people. It's all. I don't think it's any different, but for her to just pinpoint the gay community, it's just her and her little propaganda, and her little ways.
But it's not just her. I feel like it's part of this whole movement where people feel like there's a gay agenda with all of our because we're making so much progress. They're like, oh, the gays are taking over. There's this big gay agenda. We're all going to burn in hell because Sodom and Gomorrah.
I think
it's
you're
crazy.
giving her way too much credit. That it's an isolated small group of people. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a political sort of junkie.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with many of Michelle Bachmann's comments, and I think it's very isolated, and I also think that she does it just for shock value.
Thank you very much for discussing that, and we kind of have to move on quickly, so I want to bring on our guest. Marga is here, waiting to come on.
Yes.
So, yay! Hi, Marga.
Hey, Cameron.
Welcome to Happy Hour.
Thank you so much. Great to be here. Hello, Saturn.
Hey, beautiful. How you doing?
I am good. I'm awake.
Thirsty?
Mark, I think Mark has a drink for you. I think he's trying to get your attention.
I need to hand her magnificent cranberry champagne and vodka.
Oh, I call that a drunken virgin.
Oh.
I love it.
I might have had one or two. And I'm going to leave you all to have an amazing conversation.
Thank you, Mark.
Enjoy.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right.
Well, cheers.
You know, I think the toast should happen after like a big gulp. And then we toast.
That's a really good idea because you could drain it down a little bit.
Idea.
Much less spillage.
Toasting from now on the way it ought to be.
I like it.
I like
You're
it
so
too.
smart. I love it.
Go. All right, now we're
ideas.
ready.
Yeah.
This is why you're the star. I like it.
I'm the star of
You're the star. Well, you're the star of your own show.
Yeah, well, we're all the star of our own shows.
You have an amazing career, and you're just smack dab in the middle of it, it seems to me.
I'm always in the middle of it.
Right in the middle of it.
Never at the top or the bottom.
Right in the middle.
I'm in the, yeah.
This is
I'm in an artistic three-way with myself.
Ooh.
That sounds dirty.
I know, we all just went, wow, let's make a picture.
The imagery, I'm just going to enjoy that visual for a minute and then go back to Lovebirds. This is your 10th one-woman show.
Yes.
Wow.
Off Broadway, now that it's in Berkeley, I guess. Is that considered off-Broadway?
It's so off-Broadway, it's not even in New York.
But it was in New York just recently.
It was a very exciting night.
Fantastic.
Lovebirds is a show that I wrote, it's the first time I wrote about other people besides myself. I made up people. I kind of did old school playwriting, but I play them all because I need all the money. I can't share what all my actors are. They're just going to use it on drugs.
Nice. So, drugs and alcohol, hookers,
right.
whatever.
I'm saving up for a Saturn. But it was beautiful. La Mama's a legendary theater, and Lovebirds is a show that's set in Greenwich Village. So that's where La Mama is. So it was sweet.
Nice.
I want to see it.
I know. We're going to go. It starts September.
Yes.
Yes.
September 18th?
It starts September. It runs Fridays and Saturdays at the Marsh in Berkeley. September 19th through October 18th.
All right, we're going.
Yes,
we're definitely going.
It's a day.
Buy the tickets as soon as they become available. We're there.
Their space in Berkeley actually has a little cabaret, very much like where we are now. So you can get a little liquored up and then come in and watch the show.
That's even better. Yeah.
Even better.
I laugh really loudly. I just want to warn you.
The more I drink, the funnier I am.
Okay. Yes.
And you've actually won awards for your shows. You got a GLAAD Award, and you were 3-time the SFA Guardian. Best comic, best of the Bay.
Yes.
Fantastic. That's amazing.
Yeah, it took me all day to fill out those polls, but it was worth it.
I wanted to ask you this as an artist. I'm an independent music artist, been trying to do it for 12 years now, and you've had a lot of success. So what would be your advice to people like myself who are LGBT, independent, doing their own thing, trying to find their audience? What would be your advice?
Yeah, social media is great, but always, I think with social media, the fun of it is a conversation with people. Mm-hmm. Twitter, it's fun to, I don't know, just, whatever weird thing happened to you on, on the Muni or Facebook, keep it personal. And then, now and then, tell them what you're doing. But I get real, I just don't follow people who they're constantly plugging and that's all they do.
Right.
There's got to be a little bit of charm in there. Or nudity.
I've been listening to a lot of interviews with comedians lately, and you obviously work with a lot of different comedians, seen the pictures. It's said, and I've grown to learn, that comedians are kind of emotionally strange, fucked up people. Is that your experience? Do you think that's true?
Well, I don't know because I don't hang out with comedians. They're a drag.
So it is true. They're kind of really serious, kind of odd people.
I'm going to say that working in San Francisco and in the comedy scene in general, what you're going to do is you're going to wind up hanging out with a lot of young dudes.
Okay.
They're just, I think they're like 80% of the scene.
Okay.
And I actually like hanging out with the young dudes because I guess I am kind of a young dude trapped in a middle-aged lesbian's body. But yes, they all have social anxiety. And in fact, someone was like, we were planning like a party for something or some sort of after party. And so I says, oh yeah, we'll invite all the comedians, And I go, no. Because all they do is drink everything you have or smuggle in their own liquor, and then they won't talk to anybody. Like they'll just talk to each other and they'll just smoke. They have comedians, and I'm guilty of it. We have social anxiety disorder. Don't date one, and I think all my exes would agree. Don't date a comedian.
So why did you go into comedy then?
Because it's great. It's fantastic. I mean, everything that you think about, that you that you rail against, you can turn into irony and satire and bring it on stage. And there's so much validation. When you bring in an idea that you think, oh, only I have thought about, and then you go on stage and suddenly, you've got 100, 200 people laughing at the same thing. It's great. There's also some satisfaction when you're, I guess, in the field that I am, which is more progressive political comic, to be able to have people think about something they didn't think about before. And besides that, you do meet some attractive people after the show. They won't sleep with you, but the people less attractive will. And so it's great for the social life because they don't know they're with a maniac.
They just see you on the stage.
Yeah,
they're like,
oh, leave, and then
she's funny. I'll fuck her.
Yeah. Okay, that's not happening anymore. I'm out of the game.
Why?
Yeah, I'm out of the game.
What does that mean? You're out of the game.
I'm not dating. I'm not looking to date. I'm doing a show all about the hunt, the pursuit of love, and I have been so satisfied doing that show that I took my OkCupid profile down. I took it down.
You're
also
just
because
done with that for a while?
Because the 2 dates I went on didn't go good. But
you're like 2 strikes, you're out, done.
It's so weird when you go on one of those dates and
I've never done that.
you think you're charming, and then they they won't. You can't have closure. It's very hard to have closure on OkCupid. It's just like, can I just send you a survey?
What did you like? What did you not like?
Your expectations of being a lousy date, or when did things go south?
So Marga, anybody that knows me knows that my biggest role model in music is Prince. He's the person that made me want to make music. So I want to ask you in comedy, who's your hero? Who inspired you?
Prince
inspired you in comedy.
He's not that funny. He's kind of funny.
He's so funny. Yeah. I have so many heroes. My dad was a comic, so I'm going to have to say. My dad.
Your dad, the vampire. Yes, I remember.
My dad. Yes. My parents were both in showbiz, and my mom was an exotic dancer and a showgirl, and then my dad, Gina Gershon.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of.
And then my dad was a comedian, and they would do these shows, and then they would, probably have some affairs, and then we get home 5, 6. I had like a housekeeper and all that to make sure that I didn't do drugs at 7, and
so you were living the life the whole time, like from birth.
In the life, and my dad. He did like these kind of old-fashioned variety shows, and I would go backstage, and that's how they met, doing shows together. Nice. And I would just hang out backstage. So I love everything about show business. So he is my favorite. Although some of his stuff I can't say was the best. And then of course Lily Tomlin and Richard Pryor and
classics.
And I always say Lenny Bruce, but when I listen to Lenny Bruce, it wasn't that good. But I like it because he always got arrested. So I like Lily. I like George Carlin. I love Richard Pryor. And I mean, it's pretty much, I love like tons of comics. But I'd say those were the people who inspired me, especially Lily and Richard, because they did characters. And a lot, even in my stand-up, I do characters. And then, of course, this led to writing these one-person shows where it's all characters.
Stand Up, the one-woman show. So on the outside, they sort of look similar performance-wise, but what's the big difference for you? Like, how do you approach the two differently?
It's a different set of muscles, because when you're doing a one-person show, it's about the story. And it's not about trying to get laughs. I mean, when you're writing it, you're trying to write it in the best way possible. And I always, in my life, have used humor. My family has used humor. As the queer community, we are, of course, the leaders of humor. People of color. So I it's laced through my shows. My shows have gone to some very dark places about illness, about racism, but all through that there's comic relief, and some shows have more humor than others.
Okay, Marga. Now that I've gotten a few drinks in you, everybody coming out story. Tell me the coming out story. What happened?
Well, unusual. It happened in college.
King.
Officially. In high school, I had all these sort of platonic lesbian relationships, but I didn't realize what they were. I thought that I was straight. Then I went to college, and I joined the women's center organization, whatever it was, and there was this girl who looked like Joni Mitchell, who was very still my favorite. Yeah. I would totally do Joni Mitchell, and I don't care that she's a smoker. I don't care. If she's straight or that she doesn't want me, I would totally do her. Okay, so this girl was like a young Joni Mitchell. And she was really great, and so and also being Latina, we have blonditis, so she was blonde, blue-eyed, like Joni Mitchell, and so she was, I was in love with her, and we started messing around, and then we were girlfriends, and we were in love, and, the first date, and then...
That's day one.
In college was upstate New York, but on the summers I would stay because my parents had split up, and I would stay at my father's house in Washington Heights in Manhattan. And there was this thing when I was growing up, and I'm not quite sure, I think people are more hip to it now, but it was like no one knew about lesbians. And so girls could do anything, like, oh, they're just girls.
Yeah.
Oh, they're naked and they're, playing with their titties, but they're just girls growing up.
Experimentation.
Learning how to please a man. So in my house that I grew, the house, like my dad kept the house, so the room that I grew up in had a single bed. And my girlfriend, let's call her Joni Mitchell. Joni Mitchell would come and spend the summer with me, and we'd sleep on that single bed, and we would get stoned, and we were very into 69 because it was very equal and feminist and just and very politically correct. We did a lot of that. And then I guess we were noisy and stoned. And again, my dad was still doing shows. Oh my gosh. So he would come home at 4 or 5 in the morning, just about the time I would come, because it takes me a few hours. And
69 hours to be exact.
69 hours. So he must have come home one of these, and he loved my friend Joni Mitchell. He would flirt with her and be he was kind of a cad and a rascal, and he'd flirt with all my.
Was he like this good-looking showman?
Yeah, I definitely went to therapy.
Your dad had blonditis too. Okay, this is a family. Nice. Okay,
it's a Latino thing, at least back then.
Okay.
So I guess we were really loud, and the next morning I went downstairs, and my dad was like in the kitchen, my dad would sleep till 1, but he was in the kitchen. He was all mad. He was really mad. He was really scary, and he knew. He knew, and he and my mom had been divorced for 10 years. He called her, or not 10 years, I'm sorry, like 6 years. And he called her. They had never spoken. And they compared notes on my behavior and the people that I knew.
Wow.
And they figured out that I was gay. And so then,
he couldn't just ask you? I mean, he's in show business. He had to know.
He couldn't just come in when he heard the noise.
This was way a long time ago. This was when there was no gay community. This was before there was GLAAD. We didn't have GLAAD. We had moderately content. And we didn't have a rainbow flag. We had plaid flag.
And this is really funny because this is Manhattan, a place where you think, gay is okay.
But it wasn't then.
It wasn't then, yeah.
So what happened was, to make a long story short, is that, and when I say long story, I mean how long it takes for me to come. To make a long story short is, my parents were furious, divorced, but they unified. They finally, I brought my parents together for homophobia. Yes. And so then what I did was, I just me and my girlfriend, we just took off. We left New York and we moved to San Francisco, and that was it. That was my coming out story. It was, I wound up in San Francisco because my parents couldn't handle the truth.
So as happy as I am to have you here in San Francisco, did you reconcile with your family after all that happened?
After 2 years, my dad had some terrible things that happened, and my mom actually wrote to me. She had my address, and we finally started talking. My dad passed away, and it was tough, but he was loving. The thing about Latino parents is they get really mad, but then they forget the whole thing. They forget that, so you have to come out several times. But after my dad passed, my mom and I, we were spending time together, and yet we weren't talking about my personal life. And finally I said to my mom, but don't you ever want to know about me being gay? I mean, what did you think about that? What did you think? And she goes, well, it's okay. I just didn't want people to be mean to you.
Oh.
And she said that was the reason she tried to just scare me out of being gay, because she knew how mean people were.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
I've heard that explanation from parents before. If you had a message to send to gay youth dealing with that kind of issue, coming out to their parents, and talking to their parents about what it's like, what would you say?
Well, it depends on what your parents are like. If your parents were like my parents, who were very traditional, slightly homophobic and temperamental, then I would say start off with a letter. And nowadays, get yourself a Harvey Milk stamp and mail the letter with a Harvey Milk stamp, so they get sort of a premonition of what might be in the letter. But always do it with love, and try to predict what they're going to say and put it in the letter. And also, I would say, go online, Google PFLAG, send them a link to PFLAG, give them resources that they can go to that aren't overwhelming, that are simple, and then just let it happen. And be prepared for the frustration in the beginning, but know that usually, actually, no, I'll say always, if they really love you, they're going to get it.
Yeah. Speaking of PFLAG and other activist organizations, it almost feels like here in the San Francisco bubble, where we are right now, that activism is on the decline a little bit. What do you think about that?
I think we're caught up in celebration right now in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And California. We're finally having equality in marriage. And it's still new. I mean, it's only been a year. So I think people are still on the high from that. But what I hope that we don't lose sight of, the pain that we have all gone through as a community still exists in, first of all, in other parts of the country and in the world. Yeah. In Uganda, in Russia, in who knows where else. And we can't shirk the responsibility. This isn't a state issue. This isn't a national issue. This is a global human issue. And we have to be part of it. And people can't just be like, oh, I'm going to get married and I'm going to get a fondue set. No, get married, and then the two of you and your children go and help other people.
So if you had a message to the world at large, what would your message to the world at large be? Right now, you, Marga, to the whole world.
Do not get sucked into your phone, your iPad, and your screens.
Yeah.
Remember, look out. Look at people. Look at people's eyes. Look at people's humanity. Go out and really be a human being like we've always been.
Be a human being.
That's awesome. I love it.
And smile more.
And just smile. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing what that little muscle does, isn't it?
Gosh. Yes. Speaking of smiling.
Smiling.
Yeah. Oh, wait. No. Let's do these. No, let's do. Okay. Never mind. You know what? There are no rules.
He's
and that's the
finished.
thing. Don't make rules about toasting. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I want the
Enjoy your
cherry.
cocktail.
Thank you, Marga. You are
Thank you so
absolutely
much.
And
amazing.
I thank you too for this show. It's wonderful, and I wish you all the best. Continue more shows, and I'm a fan. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We are
you.
huge fans as well.
Huge fans.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And cheers to you for coming back again, and please keep coming back for more. You can catch Marga on her website, margagomez.com. You can catch her at the Marsh in Berkeley, September 19th to October 18th. I did it.
Yeah.
Very
I can't even do that.
Good.
And you also have another show coming up.
New Year's Eve at Brava.
New Year's Eve at Brava.
Yeah.
Awesome. And teaching at Brava, too.
I'll be teaching, just go to my website and you'll see.
All the details
I'm teaching
are
all
there.
over the place.
Excellent. So
I'm a
check out the
coach.
website. Coaching, teaching, performing, it's all there. And you
I
can
feel
keep watching
sick
us
from that
too.
cherry.
Oh.
I feel really. Is there a doctor here?
Is that guilt?
We're gonna go
or-
find you a cute doctor.
Lesbian
So bye
paramedic?
everybody. We're gonna go rush her to the hospital. Have a great rest of your day. For more about Happy Hour with Cameron Stiehl, upcoming episodes and events, please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. For more stories and news about the LGBT community, go check out G News and Glitter Bomb TV, both hosted by Celso Delay. And for even more, check out It's Everything with BB Sweetbriar and The Sex Talk with Mo and Genoa.
Got the words to sing, yeah.